the World Health Organization's role in severely mismanaging and covering up the spread of the coronavirus. Everybody knows what's going on there. American taxpayers provide between $400 million and $500 million per year to the WHO. In contrast, China contributes roughly $40 million a year, and even less. As the organization's leading sponsor, the United States has a duty to insist on full accountability.
The president also unveiling his new economic council with prominent names including Condoleezza Rice, Jeff Bezos, and Tim Cook. Mark Cuban is also on the president's new council. He will be joining us live in just moments. But first, live Fox team coverage from New York City and the White House this morning. We begin with John Roberts on the North Lawn. Good morning, John.
Sandra, good morning to you. And the president last night igniting a political brush fire, announcing that the United States would be suspending funding to the World Health Organization for a period of some 60 to 90 days. The president saying that the United States is going to undertake an investigation into what he calls the mismanagement and cover-up, the WHO's investigation of what was then an outbreak in Wuhan, China, one that, of course, became this global coronavirus pandemic. Here's what the president said.
Look at the rest of the world. Look at parts of Europe, other nations and regions who followed WHO guidelines and kept their borders open to China, accelerated the pandemic all around the world. Many countries said, we're going to listen to the WHO, and they have problems the likes of which they cannot believe.
The move inviting criticism from Democrats in the House Oversight Committee. In a letter to the president, the members writing, quote, while we may agree that the WHO has shortcomings that must be corrected, your attack on the Global Health Organization can easily be seen as a deliberate but transparent effort to deflect responsibility for your own failures onto others. Meanwhile, your attempt to blame the WHO for trusting China reflects an astonishing level of hypocrisy, given your own fawning and widely publicized praise of President Xi Jinping. At the same time that the president suspends funding to the WHO, a new report out from the Associated Press finding that for a critical period of 6 days, China did not warn of an emerging epidemic, allowing people to gather in large groups in the Wuhan area and travel far and wide for the Lunar New Year. In those 6 days of public silence, the AP says more than 3,000 people were infected. Fox News has also confirmed that diplomatic cables from the U.S. Embassy in China warned the administration that there was a safety problem at a major virology lab in Wuhan 2 years before this outbreak. That lab was conducting research on coronavirus in bats. U.S. officials have not ruled out the possibility that the pandemic originated from that lab. Here's General Mark Milley, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs.
It should be no surprise to you that we've taken a keen interest in that, and we've had a lot of intelligence take a hard look at that. And I would just say at this point, it's inconclusive, although the weight of evidence seems to indicate natural. But we don't know for certain.
Now, as for President Trump, he will spend today talking with people in business, banking, retail, healthcare, sports, transportation, construction, and more, gathering information on where, when, and how parts of the country can reopen. The president reading off a long list of outside experts will serve as sort of an advisory board to help get the country back to work. He's calling it the Great Economic Revival. Industry groups, and I know that you're going to have Mark Cuban on in just a few minutes. One other point to make. Sources are telling Fox News that reports that the Treasury Department is going to put President Trump's signature on those economic impact payment paper checks are simply inaccurate. The Treasury Department says that there will be no delay in getting those checks out. They'll go out beginning next week as scheduled. It should also be pointed out that only to a certain degree will people be getting those paper checks, because a lot of those EIP payments will be made via direct deposit. Sandra?
And some already starting to do so. John Roberts reporting from the White House this morning. John, thank you.